The Bantrol system is not at war. Bantrol was never, until recently, a wealthy colony. The planet had resources enough to maintain its own small society, but none worth exporting. There was never any need for the corporate sponsors of its initial colonization to interfere with its administration. In the halls of the Solar Union Commerce, land shares on Bantril traded for nothing, no cost, no gain. You might throw all of my land shares on Bantrol into your golf wager as a joke, or give them as a prank gift to a friend. Recently, though, there was a minor development in the obscure biochemical processing technology, and the novel features of Bantrol's ecosystem went from being a scientific curiosity to being an untapped and unknowably deep resource of wealth. Land shares on Bantrol are now no longer an ignored asterisk on anyone's balance sheet. The handover of administration of power from the descendants of Bantrol's original Terran colonists to the newly interested legal right holders, the self-proclaimed landowners, has been cheerful, orderly, and mutually profitable. There have been few isolated spats, of course, but that's been practically no protracted, bitter, bloody war of resistance between the displaced old Bantrash aristocracy and the off-world landowners. When a landowner uses a threat of violence to force a hereditary great family to give up their land, keeping them on as guides and entertainers, it's cheerful. And when they offer in exchange a negligible sum, it is mutually profitable. And when a fiery company of Bantrash irregulars responds by raiding their holdings and seizing arms, materials against future battles, and the local insurrections take advantage of the upset by forcing occupied biochem processing facilities, and landowners respond with ruthless crackdowns and martial law, these are a few isolated spats. To admit otherwise would be to invite intervention of the Terran Transit Authority's mediation and its peacekeeping forces. Then no one would get rich from Bantrol but the TTA.
We open on footsteps, and we see a hallway. And this hallway we recognize in the university. And we get a slow pan up series as she is walking through this hallway, carrying her books, well dressed, ugly scar down her face. And the camera lingers on that and the hardness in her eyes. This is not the same series that we saw in episode 1. She walks into an empty classroom where another young woman is waiting for her, leaning against the windows. "You wanted to see me, Aurora," she says, setting her books down on a table. This woman turns around. She's older than Sirius, but not by much. She looks like a university student as well. And she's obviously noble. She's well kept. Her hair is, I see it being this amber color. Like it's kind of brown, but at the same time, it's like a very jewel toned brown. And it's just very well kept. And she turns around and she says, "Oh, you did decide to show up. Hello, Sirius." And Sirius says, "Aurora, why did you want to talk to me?" Aurora pushes off of the wall of the classroom. She walks forward. She says, I've come to issue you a warning. I don't think you understand what it is you're doing. But if we're lucky, you're going to get yourself killed and no one else. And if we are unlucky, you are going to get us all killed. We heard what you did with that adjudicator on your property. And now we're all dealing with that fallout. You need to keep yourself in check because the situation on this planet is too delicate. Sirius stands there for a minute. And she says, I will not check myself any longer. When my people are being subjugated by these off-world invaders, too long we have allowed them to set up shop here. They demolished a national park to build a stadium for space frisbee. And you want me to stand down and allow them to destroy our planet and take resources from our people and ship them off world so they can make money. I will no longer do that. We all have been complicit in the rape of our planet. And I am aware that the situation is delicate. And I am aware that if it comes to war, we will all be shipped off of our homes. But everything up to war, I will do to protect my people. End scene.
Okay, the scene changes, and we end up in a workspace of some sort. This you can tell that this is a place where people work on machinery of all kinds. I think there's like a few assorted vehicles in here, but there's a space that's been cleared in the back, and there's a long table that's just full of machine parts. And amongst them, we see a CH4 vessel, clean and otherwise unhurt, and lots of people in Dearborn uniforms milling around. I've been picturing them as like a very bright Walmart blue, just the full robes and everything, as they're tending to all the machines. And we see one person in particular who looks a bit more official. They've got some gold trims on their uniform, and they're working through what at first just looks like video footage, like it's some sort of surveillance footage. But then we can tell that this is everything that CH4 has seen over these past few weeks. This is his memories, in a sense. So it lingers for a moment on all the Dearborn employees that he's been interacting with. And we get a short assessment of everyone. It's like, hey, this person is nice. This person is a jackass. This person hates robots. And we see all the negative ones get tossed out into this folder that just says demotion. And then we get to a part with where there's no official Dearborn picture for these people. We can tell that these are locals. I think we get a brief shot of Angela from the dance here, but no more than that. This is just a person. Then we get a few shots of CH4 talking to Malik, up in this arena above the stadium. They're pointing out what the athletes are doing and whatever silly faces they're making. And I think the assessment from Malik says useful contact. And then we get a long bit where it dwells on Sirius. We get a shot of them dancing, and he pushes the hair out of her face. We get a shot from the event that happened in episode 2. I think there was an auction. We get a shot from what looks like a rooftop on the other side of the street as Sirius is running out. And then we get a shot from the dinner where they were talking about bringing the people together, trying to find some common ground for all of us. And then, of course, we focus on the footage from the fight, is seeing, like, trying to map out how Ceres moves, how she fights. And then, of course, it ends on the final shot where we just see her face in this emotion of anger. It's just this incredible stern look on her face. And the assessment in bold green letters says "troubled friend." And then CH4 sits up on the table, looks around, his eyes boot up in a streak of what was once blue. It's now a bright purple. End scene.
So we go from there to the city at night, and like there's like a big highway that kind of runs through part of it, and then there's like a bunch of buildings kind of near that, and we like the camera sweeps over the highway to establish that, and then comes up to like the top of one of these buildings, and we see a woman standing there with like space binoculars, and then she lifts them down, and she's wearing one of the masks that's of gravitas. Hers is like, it's like a split, and so there's like a face over here and a face over here. She has she's like wearing kind of like a tactical suit kind of thing. Like she'd like, it would be like reminiscent of like, oh, she's a spy or something, like she's like a stealthy person or whatever. What we can see of her skin is like kind of like a light brown, and then kind of like coming up from behind her, we see Amon walking up with his raven mask on. He like crosses his arms and then looks down at this highway, and we see a big like hover truck, like a few of those with like a dozen really huge mechs like surrounding them and moving with them down this highway. And the woman looks to Amon and says, when she talks, like the voice masking for hers like makes it sound like it's like reverberating and makes it sound like there's like two people talking. I can't do that with my voice, so it's not going to sound cool. But yeah. Then she says, "Looks like they're worried." And then Amon nods. Yes, seems some things have been going down and gotten them scared. Good. And she like looks from the highway to him and, well, what should we do? If they're waiting for something, maybe we should give it to them. And then we'll fade on that.
In a slightly brighter area of the city, there's the hustle and bustle of a coffee shop, and sitting in a corner by the window where she's very easily visible from the street is Professor Angela Jones. She's got like a stack of paperwork that she's basically grading, and occasionally students come up to her in order to, it's kind of like office hours, but if her office was in a coffee shop. And so she's been pleasantly greeting her students, and every once in a while one of them will come and approach her and have a particular assignment they hand over, where you can clearly see the tattoo of a compass that marks them as one of the true way of Bantraphyll, which is her underground rebel organization. And instead of it being her report, or instead of it being a assignment, it's actually a report. And as the day goes by, 3 different people come in. A number of normal students. It's kind of like a time lapse as she sits there, and slowly the sun sets and the colors change, and she gets more and more agitated, and you realize that she's gone through the stack of papers like multiple times as she's already graded them. She's already taken in her reports. She keeps checking her watch, and on her, she pulls up her hollow phone, and there were 4 names. 3 of them have check boxes, and 1 of them does not. And so she double taps on the name Franklin, and deletes the contact, and nods sadly. And then we cut over to Franklin. He's one of the people we've seen before in her classroom, one of the more vocal and outspoken of the need to act instead of collect supplies. He's sitting in a Bantraphyll holding facility, and he's like, "I demand to know what I'm being held for. Let me out of here. I have rights." And no one is listening. And then we fade on that scene. Who has an idea for their first game? I actually have one if anybody does not already have one.
I have a thing I'd like to do, but that was the last game I might.
Okay, well, I would like to conduct a chase. We have not yet actually seen Professor Jones's mobile frame in action, and I'd like to do so. And she is being chased by Amon.
Okay.
How did this chase come to be about? We're in our mobile frames, and you're chasing her. Her mobile frame is a retrofitted Frankenstein of a machine. It if it's shut down, it looks like a pile of garbage. Like literally, you can mistake it for a pile of garbage. And they actually store their mechs in a essentially a junkyard where it just looks like another scrap heap. So why are we chasing them here? What is it? Gotta be kidding me. Oh, I think I know what it is. Hold on.
Telling her about my
Oh.
What in the world?
I think it's got to be an OBS thing because I'm not
Not like disrupting.
Let me try that.
Apparently everyone's really
I'll drag everybody up to the max. Here we go, everybody. Thank you for letting me know that everybody was quiet. I appreciate it. Please tell me if my mic is still doing weird stuff. Everybody is still quiet? Well, I just upped everybody. They're as loud as they're gonna get. So.
You can see if I can do anything.
Oh, well, that didn't work. Welcome to my shirt.
It's a nice shirt.
It's a solid shirt.
Kelsey, you might just try to mute on the stream when you're not talking to help with whatever background issues going on.
Mm.
And then everyone can just try to talk louder. I don't know.
Mm. Yeah, it might also be like a Zoom setting, apparently. It mutes everyone else while you're talking.
Apparently, it's better with muting it on OBS, so we can probably move forward with that.
Beautiful. Well, I've been muting it on my mic because that mutes it both places at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah.
That works too.
Okay. Yeah, I can't hear anything, so it's got to be through something in the stream.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking maybe. So I guess, do I know your mech?
Yeah, I don't think you know this mech. I don't think you're. I don't think you would know it.
I'm wondering if maybe you knew something that I was trying to get. Like a Life of Brian situation where we both had the same plan of like, let's get these like schematics from the Bantraphyll or something, and then like you happened to get there before we did.
Yeah, that sounds good.
And so yeah, like you were there, like it starts like you like your mech there and like jack into a thing, and then you unplug as like a few of our like me and a couple of the mechs like just like come up from around the building, and then like our mech eyes meet, and then we like burst off into a mech chase.
Perfect.
Cool. Let's see. So so you notice. So yeah, I showed up with other people, so we were probably expecting trouble. And then you've heard, you've probably by now these mechs are probably like not famous, but like you've probably heard of like the mechs, like at least I've heard of people seeing these mechs before, like causing trouble. So like you probably like recognize that they're not this. It's probably very easy to recognize that this isn't like a landowner patrol or a Bantraphyll like gang or whatever. Like this is like a separate faction or something like that. Yeah, something like that answers what you might notice or what you've heard from me at least. Yeah, cool. So I will swap over to and to get my chase. There we are.
That's still picking up some weird bullshit. Okay. 1 second. I'm gonna switch microphones real quick. Let's see. Okay, hopefully that helped everybody. Okay. Hopefully that helped. Can everybody hear me? Perfect. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, I've no idea what's going on with that. Brilliant. I really appreciate all your feedback, and I apologize because that should be my good microphone, and if it's not, that's a problem.
It's an OBS thing because, like I said, you sounded perfect for us.
That's so weird. Okay.
Weird gain thing in OBS or something like that, but
I don't know. Weird. Okay. Well, what do you notice about each other? So, like I said, this mech looks like it is completely thrown together out of scrap metal. There's no reason it should be working. It's impossible that it's I mean, not impossible, improbable that it even works at all. So
smashed parts and like when it moves, there's stuff like you hear noises or whatever. Like it's like someone driving like a really old car. It's like, how is that thing still running? Like, oh, just.
yeah, why is everybody so y'all super quiet? Like,
Maybe try try just turning down your microphone setting in OBS so we're kind of at the same level, and then everyone else can just turn their.
I did that, and you're still quiet. Like, you're starting to sound quiet to me.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so
That is really weird.
so are you on a Windows laptop right now?
Yes.
Okay, so down on the right, that like the little speaker thingy. Right click it, and then do like either playback devices or recording devices.
Audio devices.
Yeah, and then like the sound thing should come up where you can say which one you want to use. There should be a tab that's called communications.
Ah.
Is that the thing?
Reduce the volume of the sounds by 80%. No, I'm gonna change that to do nothing.
Yep.
Apply that.
It's a feature that Windows loves to give you where it'll turn down everything when it senses you talking.
No, don't do that.
I don't want it to do that. I want it to not do that.
The exact opposite of what you want to do for streams.
Perfect. Well, that should help. I hope, everybody.
Test. How do we sound now? Please tell me this fixed it.
It's okay. It's a feature.
It's looking better.
Developers.
Okay, well, perfect. I'm gonna call that good enough, everyone. It's better than it was. So there's that.
Yep. Cool. Was there anything else that I might have noticed about you or what I might have heard?
What might you have heard? You've heard that, what have you heard? I don't think you've heard very much since the last time we had our little, since when we had our, well, actually you might have. So when we last interacted as Malik and Professor Jones, we had a animated disagreement, and you met a number of her students that were part of the resistance, or at least open to it. And you have heard that one of her students was recently arrested for improper conduct as a for basically for stealing while working as a gardener for Bantraphyll nobility.
Got it. Cool. All right. All right. Let's do the chase. So I think it's like some sort of like a definitely like an urban environment. And so like we're probably like jetting through like around through like streets and around buildings and stuff.
Yeah, I like it. So yeah, we're jetting around buildings. We're speeding through the city. It wasn't. I mean, it wasn't like this before. I blame Windows. I am the query, and so where am I going? I am going to our warehouse slash junkyard, which is where everything is at.
Got it.
That is my destination. Okay. So, oh, this is good. Okay, so I reach clear ground and leap away. Follow me if you can rally yourself, but throw. On tails, you stand gasping and I gain a coin. This is where the the mobile frames, they reach like a town like center. There's a big open square where there's like a fountain, and this rubble heap, just metal and rust, everything. Um,
I hate to interrupt, but they're saying like your audio is like literally fading out.
what is it? What in the? Well, I turn it down so it wouldn't be overpowering everybody else, but
One thing you might be able to do, I'm gonna pull up OBS real quick so I can walk you through it, but adding like a gain option to our microphones.
let's do this real quick. Gain.
I just want to make sure everyone can hear everyone.
Yeah, I want that too.
So I think if you go to audio filters,
Mm-hmm.
you can add a gain to like your desktop audio and then just like boost it by a number of decibels, and we can play with that.
All right,
And
I
then
just did that.
so,
I've been doing it while we were talking.
all right,
Let's
let me
go.
unpause this stream so I can hear it.
Let's try it again, everybody.
Hopefully it'll work.
Love and tech support.
Thank you, Umbra. Thank you for that. Perfect. It's my life right now.
Yep.
I feel like it's better. It's not perfect. If you could boost the desktop more, or is it maxed out?
It's not there. It was not maxed out. Now it is maxed out. Let's see how that looks.
Test, 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 test,
Blah blah
test.
blah blah
Ba
blah.
ba ba da 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 da.
It's looking better already.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, perfect.
So let me hear you real quick.
This is me. I'm talking.
Yeah, I think yes, perfect.
Well, perfect, everyone. All issues are fixed forever.
Fixed.
Okay.
We basically put duct tape on it.
Yeah.
Continue.
Perfect. So, after the raid, this piling hunk of metal and junk rushes forward and down a street and reaches like this little fountain area, and jumps, just makes a huge leap over the fountain, and is on the other side. There are like three different alleyways, and she uh, uh, manages to duck down one of them. You're going to have to make a similar leap, or she's going to, if you go around, you're not going to see where she went. So you need to throw a coin. On a heads, I will gain a coin, and on a tails, of course. Why? You know, I did this. I was like, oh, we're not going to need the other screen.
Yeah.
Definitely not going to need that.
Follow me if you can rally yourself, but throw on tails. You stand gasping, and I gain a coin. So yeah, I throw, and on tails you get you. I lose some ground, and so D2, 1 heads, 2 tails.
Sounds good to me.
Okay. Tails. All right. Yep. Yeah. So I think I'm like following you, and then you just make this sudden leap, and so I have to like adjust myself, and so like I have to like, because like it sounds like you're like doing like weird leaps and shit, and I have like jets, and so I have to like adjust my jets and like not hit the fountain and like float up and above, so like you kind of get ahead of me, and I have to like try to catch up again. Yeah, so I'm like following, but still, yeah, I've lost some ground because of your like weird leaping mechanisms.
Yeah, like other mobile frames don't move like this.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
think. So it's like, oh, what is going on?
Mhm.
Cool. Perfect. 90% of perfect, actually. It's there. How do I just take one coin? Move one coin.
I've already given you a coin.
Oh, you have? Where did you put it?
It's above your name.
Oh, there we go.
But you can drag it out of your hand and onto the table if you
No,
want.
that's
but
a
I think
great
we're...
place for it to be.
Okay.
There we go. I just want to make it clear what we're doing here.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. That's perfect. Aha! Now everyone can see what's going on.
I mean, we're still on the other screen, so
No, I just fixed it.
I'm watching. Oh, there it goes. Yeah.
There's a delay. It's called stream delay.
I wasn't sure what you meant by that. So, yeah, we're good.
Okay, so let me move on to the next challenge. I know this ground well. Follow me if you dare but throw. On a tails, you plunge heedless into danger, and I need not choose an admission in this chase after all. So once she clears the fountain, she ducks down an alley, and you can tell by the way she weaves through these. There's like boxes strewn all around. There's strange like cutbacks. Like you didn't even realize there was this warren of alleys between buildings in this area, but obviously she did. She knows exactly where she's going, and she's taken the fastest, most difficult to follow route there. So
Got it.
let's see a throw here.
Okay, cool. Go up 2. So, yep, on tails. Yep, you
I need
don't
not
choose
choose an admission after all. Awesome. So finally, or not finally, the next portion is she manages to make her way up to the top of a building. It's there's like a leap to a trash bin, onto a fire escape. The fire escape creaks perilously as this monstrous uh, mobile frame starts climbing up it, and finally she's on the roof and runs along the top ledge of a roof, and you can follow if you dare. But on tails, but throw on tails, you have to slowly pick your way carefully along, and I gain a coin.
Okay. Nope. I'm able to get past this obstacle. So yeah, I think you're up on this ledge, and I think I like jet, and I just like we like go into the cockpit and see it like I'm on, just like move power around and like adjust shit, and just he just up and over the building, and it's just like and it's just like
Yeah, like
staring you down and just like watching you for your next move.
Perfect. Obviously, I then make a leap out over nothing and make a hard, perilous landing. Follow me if you dare, but throw. On a heads, you gain 1 coin. On tails, though, you barely catch yourself and you're clinging with all of your strength, and the chase ends with you at my mercy. So she runs across the top of this building and finally leaps over to another building, and it's too far to jump normally. But somehow she makes it, and it looks like this building is reinforced, designed to take the impact of a mobile frame. And but with your booster jets, you may be able to make it, but you're running low on fuel, so throw.
Heads.
Okay, on a heads, you gain a coin. That brings us 1-1. We each get a coin. And so you are winning. The hunter has as many coins as you. Choose one.
Let's see.
Oh, yeah, yeah. You've proven yourself, and I let you catch me. So you land over there, and she stops, and the frame turns around and like straightens up, and you can see just behind her is the junkyard, and this is the warehouse building. She stops and she straightens up, and she says, a voice comes over the speaker, says, "We have similar goals. You and I. You've proven yourself. I see it now. We should talk."
Yeah. Yeah, like Amon's mech like lands down and like I think I said before like they've adjusted like the head of the mech to kind of match the masks of the user, and so yeah, there's like this like raven mech mask on it, and it like tilts a little bit, and then you have something I want.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's where we're gonna cut that scene.
Cool. Let's see. Okay, so go back down to the I should probably go next because time.
That makes sense.
I would agree with that. I was going to suggest that.
Sure.
So
I think I kind of want to see. I kind of want to do a stealing time together with you. Like to we cut to commercial and then come right back to that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's not like I set you up for that or anything, but maybe I set you up for that a little bit.
So the setup is fairly simple. Yeah, we came to spend time together, obviously, because we just finished it. We just finished a chase. I think you notice the mech's weapons aren't out at all, so Amon isn't like trying to be threatening in this situation. Like there's obviously like the chain sword thing and like a gun on the back that could move up and be able to be shot, but like they're both away, so it's just mech, not like I'm ready to I'm in a mech, I'm ready to fight you in my mech kind of situation.
Right. Totally. Cool. Let's see. So yeah, I think I think like it opens up with the canopy of her mech opening and her stepping out of it. And she says, "You want to talk? If you want to get what you want, we need to talk."
I think like Amon like the mech's arm kind of comes up and like out of the elbow or like kneels down in front of you, and like out of the elbow like comes a little like data terminal thing and is like, or you could just give it to me.
Not that simple. We both have goals here. They align, but not entirely. I don't like what you're going to do with this information. Convince me otherwise.
You don't like that I'm striking back against our oppressors?
I don't like that you're calling attention to it. Look at you. Flashy. And she just like gestures to the mech. With a sense of style, I'll give you that.
Hiding away isn't the answer. I'm not saying you can't conduct business from the shadows, but if we don't bring this to people's attention, nothing is going to be done.
Everything is being done in time. You're going to ruin everything I work towards. And she like walks up like the with the mobile frame down. She walks up towards the canopy of your frame, and she gently knocks on it, like it's like, come on, let us speak face to face, like adults.
Uh, so I'm assuming you're doing that first question.
I'm not actually gonna open it for you. I'm just
Okay.
like, I'm suggesting that you open it.
Okay. Yeah, I think like the arm kind of comes back. The mech is like still kneeling and like kind of leans forward a little bit, and like yeah, there's like the psh, as like the thing open, like the chest opens up, um, and then like a non-mech version of the mech is sitting in the canopy because I look exactly like my mech basically.
Yes, that's a lot of that going around.
That's
then
a
yeah,
bit of a theme.
and so yeah, I'm on like undoes like slams his chest and like the safety harness thing, and like it goes and he like leaps out and like next to you, and it's like a big flourishing like coat and boots and his big old raven mask and the like light purple eyes. He like turns and like crosses his arms, and then so what's your plan? Spend years just gathering resources and then strike at some point in the future?
We've already spent years gathering resources. And she like holds up like data crystal information. With this, I can orchestrate small surgical strikes, cut out where they are both weak and powerful. A massive attack that just kills innocents. It's not going to do anyone any good.
Well, waiting might be all well and good for you, but the people want action now.
We're at the end of waiting, but our strikes are small, they are contained, and they are secret. You don't know the meaning of that word. Surely you hide behind the mask so no one knows who you are. They know a small hologram, a man that comes and speaks to them. No, there's someone else behind that mask. No one knows who I am. No one sees past a pile of rubbish.
Then who are the people supposed to believe in?
Themselves. The true path forward for Bantraphyll. It comes by education, by showing the people there's another way than violence. Certainly we need some violence. Not all.
The off-worlders aren't interested in hearing what we have to say about how we do things here.
They're also not interested in losing all of their supplies mysteriously overnight. Much harder to form a counter-strike if you don't know who took your material. Paint a target on your head, Amon. Do you not see that?
There's a target on something that doesn't exist. Amon doesn't exist.
Yeah. At this point, she's gonna reach her hand forward and touch his mask. May I?
Yes, you may.
You feel real to me.
It's an icon. The people can believe in themselves over time, but a face that they can look up to that's actually doing something. That's what's going to get them to do for themselves.
You really think so? In my experience, it just means that they'd have someone to do it for them.
Wouldn't that come from things just happening in the darkness, and just they'll come to expect it if it just continues to do that?
No.
I've been gaining the trust of people, getting them to join the cause. You might know some of them.
I know quite a few people. Who are you really behind this mask? She just kind of like strokes it.
Well, telling you that would ruin the surprise, wouldn't it?
I'm not your enemy.
I don't see you as an enemy.
I'll tell you what. This information, very valuable to me. I think a fair cost would be to see your face.
He like slowly like reaches a hand up, and like pushes a thing on the mask, and like
Mhm.
the kind of it's like a weird claw thing that kind of holds it back, and so the claws start to like so I loosen my own armor or clothing, may I?
You may.
And so yeah, like the claw things are like kind of a backup around the mask, and he like grabs onto the beak and pulls it off, and yeah, it's the face of your former student Malik. Who knew?
Yeah,
Oh
and
my
she
gosh!
like takes a small step back and like sucks in a quick breath because she was not really expecting that, and she's like, I see.
And he reaches up and like taps the thing on his throat,
Mm.
um, and then I told you I was looking for action. I told your students that I was looking for action.
Your words have stirred more trouble than they're worth. One of my students has been arrested. I think it was your mantra which drove him to action and foolishness that got him caught. I'm good to my word. I'll get you a copy of this data.
Fine. I guess that's acceptable.
You wanted more?
If you're so ready for action soon, maybe we share some plans.
All right then.
I like um let's I step closer and put a hand over on your shoulder. I touch your shoulder, may I?
You may.
Um I'm not an idiot. I know we both want the same thing, even if our paths are a little different. I'm willing to cooperate.
Good. I think we are ready to strike soon against the Dearborn Combine.
Good.
This data crystal includes some of their patrol routes. And perhaps together, your forces and mine can hit them where it hurts.
Shall we talk further then?
Come inside.
Cool.
I think we're gonna. I was gonna say I think she like puts like a hand around his shoulder. May I?
Mm-hmm.
To lead him inside.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe we can draw the curtain there, so we don't have to just talk actual tactics. 'Cause that's boring. That's not what I'm here for.
Cool. Awesome.
Fantastic.
Good scene.
Uh,
Also phrasing. Hashtag
Yeah.
phrasing.
Solid.
Estini, did you want to be next? I believe.
I just want. I love that. I was looking at chat, but now that I got a chance to, I'm loving that everyone was like, he pulls off the mask to reveal another mask underneath.
Yep.
That was pretty great.
God damn it!
Oh, I don't know. I kind of want Umbra to go next if you have an idea. If you don't, I can.
Yeah, I have an idea.
Oh wait, but your ideas like might destroy everything?
Might, yeah.
Okay, then I should probably go next.
Yeah.
Not to copy text, but I kind of want to also steal time together with Professor Jones.
Please tell me, how did we come? So
Do you
yeah.
just walk up to them while they're there? Like, hey,
I don't think. No, I think this has
Get in
got to
line.
be sometime later. Possibly.
No, this is later.
Yeah, maybe a few days later, even. Yeah, how do we come to be stealing time together?
Office hours.
Yeah, office hours is always a good one.
I feel like it needs to be office hours, and
Is this coffee shop office hours or office
No.
hours? Office hours.
office hours.
Gotcha. Yeah. So Professor Jones is waiting behind her desk. She's
Your door literally can't lock during this time.
Yes, exactly. It literally is unable to lock during this time. And I think it's currently open because she has no students in there, so it's just open, and there's a soft classical music wafting out. She's just kind of reading a book, waiting for people to come by. She doesn't have any current. She doesn't have any current students like grading or anything to go on, so she's just reading a novel and listening to some music, waiting for anyone to come by.
And so I think before I would enter, I would knock on your door frame just out of politeness. What do I notice about you? What have I heard?
You've definitely heard that one of your fellow students has been arrested, and that Professor Jones has, like she's mentioned it in class, but the way she mentioned it was kind of like, because it was both a this is really terrible, but also at the same time kind of a warning of like, you should not don't do this, but don't get caught.
Okay.
Kind of a deal. And yeah, I think that's pretty much what you notice there. What does she notice about you?
I think especially since I had been avoiding you for a while. Now that I'm at this close distance, even though it's healing, you notice that wound across my face. It's probably held together by like steri strips or something. It's been treated, but it's still healing. You also probably, at least over the past week, I would say, because it's probably been a week since I had that fight with CH4.
Mm-hmm.
My demeanor in class has been different. I have been more outspoken. And I have been much less cowed.
Mm. Mm. Mm-hmm.
Like, something grew me a backbone, and you don't know what. And the fact that I am coming to your door now, knocking on your door frame, and looking very seriously into your office is probably unexpected to you.
Yeah, and I think she closes her book and she looks up and like she just stares at Sirius for a moment before she just closes her book without even looking at it and puts it down. And she stands up and she says, "I was afraid you were going to drop my glass. Come in, close the door."
I enter. I hit the switch on the wall that lets the door close, but obviously the lock feature is like grayed out. You can't hit that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Professor, I wanted to have a conversation with you. Is now a good time?
Of course.
I sit down in one of the chairs that's opposite of your desk, and I set my books down, and I also have like I'm imagining a manila envelope, but I feel like it would just be a data pad.
Sure.
Like it's a data pad, but it gives that impression of like
Mm-hmm.
something that I wouldn't necessarily normally carry. It like looks more official than that.
Yeah.
But I just set that all down, and I sit across from you and fold my hands, and I kind of size you up for a minute,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm trying to like get a read on you.
Yeah, she's not sure exactly why you're here, but she's kind of trying to get a read on you as well.
I feel like that's a really interesting, like we're just kind of staring each other down for a minute.
Yeah, and I think she breaks first, and uh, I touched your cheek where your wound is. May I?
You know, I should probably pull up the game that we're playing so I can get the correct reactions. That might be good.
Yes, it could be. Would be helpful. I don't know.
um You may, but only for a moment. You touch it, and then I kind of flinch away. I think it's still tender.
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. Would this be something that I've heard of? Like, was this like a publicized
I think it was
duel?
suppressed.
Okay. Yeah, and she like she pulls her hand away and she's like, "I'm sorry. You. Was it an accident?"
No,
Happened. Sirius, talk to me.
the Dearborn happened.
Yes, of course they did. They are not good people.
I've heard you speak of them in class.
Did you take it upon
Frederick.
yourself?
Frederick was arrested. That's so
It's true.
concerning.
And she hasn't moved back behind her desk. She's just kind of leaning up against her desk, like with like one hand behind her as she's listening, and she nods and she's like, "Oh, he also was not a fan of the Dearborns. He worked as a gardener for another noble house, one that has close ties to the Dearborn Combine."
Yes, I know them. I know who you're speaking of. I reach down and I pull up my data pad. I hit a couple buttons on it. And I turn it towards you. You can see a picture of that tattoo that you all keep so secret.
Mm-hmm.
I was sent this as part of a dossier, a profile that they did on him.
I'm surprised they sent it to you.
Well, we're all in your class. They don't know yet, but there have been rumblings and things have been brought to my attention that have not been brought to others.
What are you speaking about, Ceres?
I want to grab your forearm where I suspect that tattoo is. I don't want to actually loosen your clothing and reveal it, but I want to grab your forearm. May I?
You may. Yeah, and I think she just like her eyes look at where you grab her forearm and she doesn't otherwise react. She like looks at it pointedly and looks back at Sirius's face. And something you know, then?
There is something I know. And I came to you because we are all in the same boat, on the same ocean, and the Dearborn are a storm we must all weather together as one people. And when revolutionaries are poking holes in that boat, trying to find some sort of solution, we will all drown.
Yeah, I think at that point she like pulls her hand or her arm out of your hand and she says, there are those who wish to poke holes in the boat. There are those who wish to reinforce it. They're not the same.
I went to your group, your after school group. You weren't there that day, but I went because you suggested it and I was struggling with the material. And I saw a young man with a tattoo, and he told me that I was not welcome there.
You are Bantraphyll. You Bantra's nobility. Many people do not trust you. Not
and
just those with tattoos.
I can understand that, but you must understand how this colors things for me. Perhaps we have a common enemy, but when you are fighting at all sides, you will come up short. I'm not asking you to change anything. I'm not asking you to trust me. But I am coming to you with this information because I want to believe that you believe the things you say in class.
I think at this point, she grabs your left arm, the same place where her tattoo is. May I?
You may.
And she just turns it so slightly, and like traces the shape of a compass onto it, and says, I believe these things so strongly. I will do anything for our planet and our people. Must realize.
I want to believe it's true.
Your mother once was a mobile frame pilot. Have you taken any of her skill?
Oh, me, I'm not allowed to pilot mobile frames. My father forbids it. After she died in that skirmish, they don't even know who fired the killing blow. There were so many people, Dearborn revolutionaries.
You don't seem like the kind of woman who will listen to her father.
Oh no, that would be telling, wouldn't it?
You don't need to trust me, but I'm going to trust you. And she lets go of your arm completely. However, you got that injury on your face. I suspect it was not listening to your father.
I don't need you to trust me either. But we do have a common adversary on this planet. And I came to you with this information first rather than making it public.
I appreciate.
All I am saying is that you need to tread carefully. There are those out there who are acting in ways that could get you hurt.
I didn't think you would care.
I'm sorry I gave you that impression. I stand up and I take my books.
I think she places a hand on your shoulder as you're about to leave. May I?
You may.
Therese, you are bright and talented. Take your own advice on this. Do not get yourself killed for a cause that and she doesn't really finish the sentence, she just kind of trails off.
I think I place my hand on your hand that's on my shoulder.
You may.
May I? May I?
You may.
I have no intention of dying, but none of us do. And as you would do anything for our people, so would I. Too long have I stood silent and allowed these off-worlders to control our planet, to suppress and subjugate our people, my people who rely on me to protect them. I will no longer be complicit.
She nods, but I think she's standing behind you, so you can't see it. So she just kind of like squeezes your shoulder just slightly, and then slips her hand off of your shoulder and out from under your hand. Good. And then she produces a card that has the compass symbol on it and just like a contact number, and says, "If you slip out from under your father's gaze," and just hands you the card.
I think I tuck it underneath my clothes, like
Mm-hmm.
under like a bra strap or something, so it's like not gonna be found. And I say, "Stay safe, Professor." And then I hit the button to open the door and walk out.
Perfect. All right. Do we have time for one final scene here? Tux?
let's see. I've got maybe like 10 to 15 minutes.
All right, Umbra, were you going to involve Tux in this scene?
It's- Yes, but we can probably do your parts first, or like get to your parts first.
Okay. What are we doing then, Umbra? Let's
We
see.
are gonna be doing a free for all.
Ooh,
Mm-hmm.
sounds
And-
amazing.
Yeah, my chosen partner is gonna be Ceres, of course.
Because
That-
we're like this right now.
Best friends.
Okay.
Mm.
Let
So-
me pull up the game.
Yeah, so I think what's happening is like while this is going on, like this is like directly after your meeting, as Ceres is like walking out, you're walking through the hallway, and then maybe we even get the like normal like ending music, like normal like credits music starts to play,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's just interrupted by this like loud air horn as what is usually like the disaster alarm
Mm-hmm.
is going off. You think like oh they're just like running that as a test routine today, but it's not. And as people start like massing to the windows, we start seeing these massive Dearborn ships in the air above Bantraphyll. And we pan outside, we hear a voice over the speakers that says that the people of Bantraphyll have been lied to, been manipulated by your so-called noble overlords who claim to know what's best for you, for your people, in their castles and mansions. And on the other hand, we have these so-called representatives or revolutionaries who claim to be on your side, on the side of the people. But no, they seek only to further their own agendas. They only want power for themselves. We here at the Dearborn Combine, we're here to provide safety and stability going forward in this new transitional era of a change of ownership and a change of situation here on Bantraphyll. Your leaders and this so-called resistance among your populace have chosen not to comply, and they will be treated with accordingly. And then the drop pods start falling.
Yeah,
So where are we fighting? Where are we fighting? Sorry.
I think it's gonna be in the airspace over whatever city we named our city that I can't remember. I think it's pinned. Hold on. Chiangi. We're in the airspace over Chiangi.
We're Chiangi. Indeed. So let's see. I think I go first.
What do we notice about each other? What have we heard?
Well, what have you heard? I think the Dearborn have been like quiet. And I think what you have heard, what probably you specifically have heard, Ceres, is that the Dearborn that was accidentally shot down in this hunting accident has passed away in the hospital. And combined with the transgression against an adjudicator, has put the Dearborn a bit on edge, it seems like. They haven't been like doing too much like official stuff. It seems like they've been preparing for something. And apparently it's this.
As far as what you notice or what you've heard, they probably keep like dossiers on each of the nobles, and they like are pretty extensive, and you've probably been given access to those because you're an adjudicator. And
Indeed.
You would notice that in Ceres' dossier, they have marked down change in behavior, like there's like red flags over it, and like noticing like change in personality and behavior, increased surveillance, warning signs and all that. Like she's definitely not been her normal self. I think what happens though, is that like people are evacuated from the university. Ceres especially is evacuated to her estate, where she's expected to go to a safe room, but instead sneaks off into Sophitia.
Lovely.
To defend her planet and her people.
Indeed. Okay, so we're in the airspace. How does Dr. Jones and Malik join us? Or Amon?
Honestly, probably we're just, at least Malik is like in the city, and so here's all this shit and the drop pod's going down, and then just leaves work and like rushes to like their hideout and just dons his mask and his mech and like bursts out to join the fray.
Brilliant. And I think that we see Professor Jones, like as the alarms are going off, like everyone's being evacuated one direction, and of course she goes a different way, and then heads off. She like jumps on a moped and like makes it over to the junkyard and is climbing into her mech. And then the free for all begins.
Okay. Yeah, so I think CH4 in his frame sees like Sophitia coming up, and we see something in the purple reticule that just locks onto it, and he makes. I think he's like falling along with the drop pods. He has also been dropped out of the sky, and is going to be. Let's see how is it worded? I was just looking at this. I fall out of the sky like a hunting bird. Do you survive my attack? And how? This is like a full body tackle in the air.
I think I survive it for sure. And I survive it because my style of fighting and piloting has always been defensive and reactionary. It's been to assess the situation and then react accordingly. I'm not the person who makes the first strike. I wait for it to come to me and then I avoid it. And so I think what happens is I get like a light up on my console saying that I'm about to be impacted, and my reflexes are very good. I'm an ace pilot after all. And I'm able to just jet out of the way, and instead maybe you crash into like a building or like the street or something.
Okay. Yeah, and since we're a bit pressed on time on your end, why don't you go next, Evan?
All right. So yeah, so we see this. So yeah, we see like the scene of CH4 like landing and Sophitia driving out of the way, and then like that is seen like in a scope, and then we come back out of the scope and see like Amon's mech like on top of like a radio tower, like a pretty good distance away from that skirmish, and then like the mag holding this like really big like mag rifle thing, and then like the shot rings out, and so far across the landscape I raise my rifle. I can put a shot into your reactor core / your comms antenna and engine knee. Put out your eye. Do you avoid my shot? How?
Let's see. I think he doesn't try to avoid it, but I think what happens is that like when he crashes down into this building, just like a massive dust cloud that appears like at the very last moment. So I think it's a very narrow miss.
Got it. Yeah.
A mag bullet buried in a wall somewhere else.
Perfect.
I'll go next. So we see Sophitia dive out of the way of this attack, and obviously I think just the way that it's set up, we're all kind of focused on the Dearborn that are basically invading the city, if we just don't mince words there. And I don't think I can really target them though, so I'll just target CH4 like as my But I want to, like, I dive out of the way and I want to break line of sight. I want to try to get into a more tactical position. So I think I'm like maneuvering between buildings and alleyways. I keep to cover, circling with tactical precision. I'm almost impossible to spot. Do you see me coming? How?
I think he does, and this is because we probably get the shot back, like paralleling this to our fight, and like we see CH4 like running through different scenarios of the same fight. I think he's like figured out your style a bit. So he knows that like you go look for cover here, like based on this situation. Like you were over there before, and this is like how much time has passed in milliseconds. Like you'll be able to get over there with like, these specs on your Mac. So I think he does a lot of math to figure out where you are.
Perfect. I think what happens next is like while you figure out where she is and where she's coming from, you wind up backing up against a pile of rubble, which actually is secretly Professor Jones's mech. And as soon as you get close enough, just two arms lift you bodily up off the ground and smash you back down again. Are you able to get out of my grip? How?
Let's see. I think so, but with heavy losses. Like there's a large bit on the back that is like comes off. It like detaches itself from your grip. You end up holding this large, like, basically it's like this large disc of metal with the Dearborn logo on it and a smiley face.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think normally it would be my turn again, but since you're about to head away, Dax, why don't you
Sure.
go?
So yeah, I think like yeah, Amon's like kind of keeping back, and so he like moves from the radio tower to like get an eye on like where all the things are happening. And so I think Amon's just gonna like reach his arm up, or like the mech arm, and it's like one of the data things comes out, and he like just jacks into the radio tower, and he starts like just I hold back, lighting you up with sensors and comms, zeroing you for my allies. Are you able to evade? How? So it's I think he's not. It's like it's starting you, but it's not just starting you. It's kind of like I'm trying to expand like my own view of it, and so I can like broadcast that to like other people. So
yeah, I think that definitely affects him. I think we see those calculations from before, and then suddenly it's like see like the processors overloading, and there's these blue screens in places where they shouldn't be. It's like, what's going on? Here, the infamous fans start going. There's lots of background noise. They just drowns out everyone else. Okay.
So you're gonna go next?
Sure. Let's see. I might as well. So let's see.
Okay.
So I think, let's see, this is. Okay, so I can't actually do that. Yes, I think this is just the frame is standing up. It's had its back torn off. It's crashed into this building, but it's locked in on like, where Sirius was last, as far as it knows. And we see like locals shooting at the frame. Maybe like bits and pieces come off, but it's not doing much. This frame's clearly been like combat repaired. So I button up on and march on you, Bantraphyll, shrugging off everything you throw at me. Can you stand me off? And how? And I think this is sort of like representative of like the battle as a whole. It's not just this moment. It's everything here. So I think it's at serious, but anyone can answer.
That is a good question. I think they can stand you off, but only because they're not alone. They have the three of us all fighting you, and there are others joining the battle more and more coming to the call as Bantraphyll cries out for help. Someone's lit a fire under the people, and they're not going to quietly accept this anymore.
I think I'm going to jump in here for this, right along those. I'm as more and more just what look like piles of trash and rubbish and scrap metals stand up and start going toe to toe, wrestling with the Dearborn mobile frames on your back and outmaneuver you at every turn. Can you shake me? How? And of course, the one that we focus in on is directly Professor Jones and CH4. So
Yeah. Let's see.
I'm picturing like a very like Star Trek, like, you know, wrestling move with the hands grasped.
Yes.
It's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't think I can shake you at this point. Like this early, yeah, the Dearborn are not about like running away from a fight. They're gonna do this to the bitter end, no matter how many people they're gonna throw into the mess.
All right. Well, I think it's me then for the last challenge. And I think it, like, when it happens, it's very reminiscent of how our meeting sword to sword ended. Maybe not in the same way, but in the same sort of way where I try to hold you back, I try to dodge you, and then when I see the upper hand, I strike and I rush you. You, like, I'm behind a building, and because you've been overloaded with those sensors, I'm not where you expected me to be. And I am faster than you would believe. I'm faster than, like, your assessment of my mech has been intentionally deceptive. And so I'm faster than the calculations say I should be. And I think I'm rushing you with my giant spear pointed straight at you. Can you get away, and how?
Let's see.
Or I guess, can you react in time, and how?
See, yeah, there's a critical difference there.
React in time and get away. It's both of those.
Yeah, I think he doesn't get away, but he does react in time. I think what happens is that, like, as this is all going on, and he sees you like out of the corner of his eye, sees the spear first and foremost, and he's seen this very thing before. He has played out this moment in simulations like 1,000,000 times over. He knows exactly how to counter this. He knows exactly what to do when Ceres rushes in blindly. I think it's at this moment that he makes the connection that like Ceres is sufficient. It's like he can map over your patterns well enough. So what we see is that he grabs hold of the spear as it's coming in, and then just sort of like flips you over, using your momentum, and slams you into the street on the other side.
That's the end. You need to pick an ending for this.
Yeah.
There's a couple of ones I think will fit, but as it's your game, you get to be the final decision.
Indeed. So I think what happens at the end is that we look at the fight, and for a moment we get the sense of like victory against this corporation. Like everything is kind of settling. But then we realize that the drop pods haven't stopped falling, like as this has been going on. Like there's, I don't know, thousands or tens of thousands troops like on the ground right now, and there's just more and more coming. So I think what happens is that the fighting is intense, but soon, well, the Dearborn come and dominate the field. Everyone else limps home for repairs and recovery.
Yeah. Oof.
That's harsh, but good.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, boy, that's gonna be something to come back to next week.
Yeah.
Um,
It'll be.
Yeah.
Well,
It'll be fun.
I want to know, what series is going to do with her new backbone?
It's a good
You might
question.
need a new one.
I mean, maybe for my mech, I'm
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Tux, do you want to ask the next question?
I guess I'm just curious to see where the cooperation between myself and Jones goes.
Umbra, what do you want to see next time?
See, what do I want to see next time? This is going to be... I just want to see what happens on Bantraphyll when the world is dead.
Ooh, that's a harsh question.
Wow.
My question is, how does CH4's assessment of Ceres as a troubled friend come into play?
Good one. Next time on Love and Bantraphyll, we're going to answer some of those questions. Now we're gonna say goodbye to everyone. Tux, I know you gotta go. You're just waiting. So why don't you do a shout out for yourself?
Yep. Hi everybody. I'm
you're a cool
Tostradamus. You can find me on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, all /Tostradamus. Do a few role playing stuff of my own. Kelsa is on 2 of those on Wednesdays, and in a couple either next week or the week after. One of those will be starting our Scum and Villainy show, so it'll be a lot of fun. Yeah, thanks for hanging out with us today, and thanks everybody for playing.
Brilliant. How about Estini? Hear a little bit about yourself and how awesome you are.
Okay, I'm Estini. I'm awesome. You can follow me here on Twitch at twitch.tv/Estini or on Twitter, twitter.com/Estini. I used to stream. I don't really stream anymore except for this thing going on, but you can find VODs on my channel and someday I'll stream again. Thank you everyone for watching. I had a lot of fun with this episode, but I have fun with like every episode, so it's like whatever.
And Dealer Umbra, let's hear a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm usually nicer than this. But yeah, I'm Dealer Umbra on Twitch, Twitter. I don't stream as much as I'd like, with work is eating a lot of time. And sleep is also eating a lot of time. But I got to run a wonderful one-shot of Lady Blackbird last Wednesday, which was a lot of fun. And I might be doing some... I've been thinking about doing some GM prep for an upcoming show. It's probably going to be happening in August-ish. It's the plan right now. So if all of that works out, we'll be hearing more about that in the future. Other than that, I'm just very glad to be here. I'm just enjoying this wonderful game with all of y'all.
Brilliant.
It's so good.
It's really good. It's really good.
And finally, you all are here watching me. I'm Kelsa. You can find me on Twitter and YouTube, Kelsa Delphi, and on Twitch. Twitch and YouTube is Kelsa Delphi. On Twitter, it's just Kelsa. Easy enough. I'm trying to put links in the places. I have all of the past episodes of Love and Bantraphyll up there on YouTube, and this one will be going up in just a bit. I'm gonna switch us back over to the music. So y'all can hear the amazing music that our good friend Drummer Boy made for this show. Here we go.